Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayamudire. Ashtaprayeshu Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Bhagavati Uttama Shloke Bhakti Bhavati Naishtiki. Om Agnanatimirandasya Gnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swaminiti Namine. नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देश तारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Srimad Bhagavatam Canto 4 Chapter 11 verse 14 Samprasanne Bhagavati Purusha Prakritir Gunaihi Vimukto Jiva Nirmukto Brahma Nirvanam Richati. One who actually satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead during one's lifetime becomes liberated from the gross and subtle material conditions. Thus, being freed from all material modes of nature, he achieves unlimited spiritual bliss. Hmm. Bhagavad Gita, second chapter, also, Krishna says, Brahma Nirvana Mrichyati. So, one who pleases, one actually satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He achieves unlimited spiritual bliss. He becomes freed from Brahma Bhuta. He becomes freed from all material modes. This is just liberation. This is not Krishna Prema. We have to always make this distinction. So this is just liberation. Just by satisfying the Supreme Lord, one becomes liberated, becomes free from the modes, achieves unlimited spiritual bliss. But of course, Shastra says this bliss is just like water in the footprint of a calf. That's all. Compared to the ocean of unlimited bliss uh, in Krishna Prema. In the previous verse, it has been explained that one should treat all living entities with tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality. See, by such behavior, one satisfies the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and upon his satisfaction, the devotee immediately becomes free from all material conditions. Such a insightful statement. See, just by treating all living entities nicely, tolerance, mercy, friendship, equality, mm, we can please the Supreme Lord and we can immediately become free from all material conditions. Now we'll say, Krishna, that our material conditions, the way we deal with, the way we are being dealt with by others is what seems to be our focus, and um, those are our material conditions. Others are not treating us nicely because that is our karma phala. And Krishna is saying that if we actually tolerate and then deal with people with mercy, friendship, equality, etc., then we'll actually become free from all material conditions. Meaning, those because of whom we are struggling or suffering, and those conditions will also stop by us being tolerant. So for this is for all of us who have this question saying that what should we do if others don't treat us nicely? Answer is here. If others don't treat us nicely, still we treat them nicely, we will anyway become free from those conditions because of which they are not treating us nicely. Lord also confirms this in the Bhagavad Gita. Anyone who sincerely, again, see, how many times does Prabhupada use these words, sincerely and seriously? Anyone who sincerely and seriously engages in my service immediately becomes situated in the transcendental stage wherein he can enjoy unlimited spiritual bliss. Everyone in this material world is struggling hard in order to achieve blissful life. Unfortunately, people do not know how to achieve it. Atheists do not believe in God, and certainly they do not please Him. Here it is clearly said that upon pleasing the Supreme Lord, one immediately attains the spiritual platform and enjoys unlimited blissful life. To become free from material existence means to become free from the influence of material nature. So the path is given. The word samprasanne, which is used in this verse, means being satisfied. A person should act in such a way that the Lord is satisfied by the activity. It is not that he himself to be satisfied, he is to be satisfied. That's all. Again and again we have been discussing this. This purport is specifically talking about satisfying the Supreme. Of course, when the Lord is satisfied, devotee automatically becomes satisfied. This is the secret of the process of Bhakti Yoga. Outside of Bhakti Yoga, everyone is trying to satisfy himself. Outside of Bhakti Yoga. So which means that if we are trying to satisfy ourselves, we are outside Bhakti Yoga. No one is trying to satisfy the Lord. Karmis grossly try to satisfy their senses. Devotees also should not get into this. Should not be in the mindset of trying to satisfy grossly. We were discussing this yesterday briefly. We should not grossly try to satisfy our senses. That is the work of karmis, not devotees. But even those who are elevated to the platform of knowledge also try to satisfy themselves in a subtle form. Gnanis, karmis try to satisfy themselves by sense gratification. Gnanis try to satisfy themselves by subtle activities or mental speculation and thinking themselves to be God. Yogis also try to satisfy themselves by thinking that they can achieve siddhi. But only devotees try to satisfy the Supreme Person of Godhead. Again, as devotees, if we are not trying to satisfy the Supreme Person of Godhead or trying to satisfy our senses, of course, devotees are not, they don't want to achieve mystic siddhi and mental speculation, etc. But devotees get stuck here. Then we should understand we cannot be called devotees. We should be called karmis. Of course, we cannot be called karmis also because we are doing bhakti. So we become called Mishra Bhaktas. The devotee's process of self-realization is completely different from the process of the karmis, gnanis, yogis. Everyone else is trying to satisfy himself, whereas the devotee tries only, should be in bold, only to satisfy the Lord. The devotional process is completely different from the others. By working to please the Lord, by engaging his senses in the Lord's loving service, the devotee is immediately situated on the transcendental platform and he enjoys unlimited blissful life. So again and again, same point, same point, same point being repeated. Isn't it? Try to satisfy Krishna, try to satisfy Krishna, try to satisfy Krishna. We can make one more verse. Nastyeva, nastyeva, nastyeva gatiranyata. We have to simply try to satisfy Krishna. There's nothing else. And simply by just treating others nicely. I mean, this is very, actually, we should understand how important this is because simply by trying to treat others nicely, we'll get liberated. I mean, just see this. I mean, see the how serious business this is. How we treat others is the cause for our conditioning, conditioned life, bondage. If we just treat them with mercy, friendship, tolerance, equality, we get liberated. So powerful just to tolerate interactions. That is the reason why Jiva Daya, that is why Bhaktivinoda Thakur says that Jiva Daya. If there's Jiva Himsa, then that is also one of the anarthas which will prevent us from making progress. Yeah, but we have to really try and remember this. We keep forgetting how important it is to treat all living entities tolerance, mercy, friendship, and equality. Very, very powerful. Bhutai panchabhir arabdhair yoshit purusha eva hi tayor vyavayadat sambhutir yoshit purusha yoriha. The creation of the material world begins with the five elements, and thus everything, including the body of a man or a woman, is created of these elements. By the sexual life of man and woman, the number of men and women in this world is further increased. When Swayambhuva Manu saw that Dhruva understood the philosophy of Vaishnavism and yet was still dissatisfied because of his brother's death, he gave him an explanation of how this material body is created by the five elements of material nature. Bhagavad Gita, it is also confirmed Prakriti Kriyamanani. Everything is created, maintained, and annihilated by the material modes of nature. In the background, of course, there is the direction of the Supreme Person of Godhead, Maya Dyakshena. The ninth chapter, Krishna says, under my superintendence, material nature is acting. Swayambhuva Manu wanted to impress on Dhruva that the death of the material body of his brother was not actually the Yaksha's fault. It was an act of material nature. Supreme Person of Godhead has immense varieties of potencies and they act in different gross and subtle ways. That means that he had to, at that point of time, he had to die, so he died. That's all. It is by such powerful potencies that the universe is created, although grossly it appears to be no more than five elements: earth, water, fire, air, ether. Similarly, the bodies of all species, whether human beings, demigods, animals, or birds, are also created by the same five elements. And by sexual union, they expand into more and more living entities. That is the way of creation, maintenance, and annihilation. One should not be disturbed by the waves of material nature in this process. And Prabhupada simply just puts one statement in the middle, which we might just read and move forward also. One should not be disturbed by the waves of material nature in the process. And then we'll continue. Dhruva Maharaj was indirectly. But this is what one should not be disturbed by the waves of material nature in this process of creation, maintenance, and annihilation. And again, it is so difficult, we understand, but we have to keep remembering this. Not the body and spirit soul. Body is there, it's created, be maintained, and then it will get destroyed. One should not be disturbed by this. Dhruva was indirectly advised not to be afflicted by the death of his brother because our relationship with the body is completely material. The real spirit soul is never annihilated or killed by anyone. Again, ABCD, Atma Gnana. Why? Because Dhruva still seemed disturbed. So Swayambhuva Manu is giving Atma Jnana. One should not be disturbed by the waves. We are not the body, we are spirit soul. Body is created, destroyed. Spirit soul is never annihilated or killed. Evam pravartate sargah sthiti samyama eva cha guna vyatikarad rajan mayaya paramatmanaha. Manu continued, my dear King Dhruva, it is simply by the illusory material energy of the Supreme Lord and by the interaction of the three modes that creation, maintenance, and annihilation take place. Just illusory energy and three modes, that's all. First, creation takes place with the ingredients of five elements of material nature. Then, by the interaction of material modes, maintenance also takes place. When the child is born, the parents immediately see to its maintenance. This tendency for maintenance of offspring is present not only in human society, but in animal society as well. Even tigers care for their cubs, although their propensity is to eat other animals. By the interaction of the material modes, creation, maintenance, and annihilation take place inevitably. Sattva guna, rajoguna, tamoguna. But at the same time, we should know that all is conducted under the superintendence of the Supreme Lord. Everything is going on under that process. Creation, the action of rajoguna, maintenance, sattva annihilation, tamoguna. We can see that those who are situated in the modes of goodness live longer than those who are situated in tamoguna, rajoguna. In other words, if one is elevated to the mode of goodness, he is elevated to a higher planetary system where the duration of life is very great. Urdhvam gachanti sattvastaha. Sattvastaha, great rishis, sages, and sannyasis who maintain themselves in sattva guna, the mode of material goodness, are elevated to a higher planetary system. Those who are transcendental even to the material modes are situated in the mode of pure goodness. They attain eternal life in the spiritual world. Same thing, just little more description. निमित्तमात्रं तत्रासीन् निर्गुणः पुरुषर्षभः व्यक्ताव्यक्तमिदं विश्वं यत्र भ्रमतितोऽभवत्. My dear Dhruva, Supreme Lord is uncontaminated by the material modes. He is the remote cause of the creation. When he gives the impetus, many other causes and effects are produced, and thus the whole universe moves, just as iron moves by the integrated force of a magnet. How the external energy of the Lord works within the material world is explained in this verse. Everything is happening by the energy of the Supreme Lord. The atheistic philosophers who do not agree to accept the Supreme Lord as the original cause of creation think that material world moves by the action and reaction of different material elements. Simple example, the interaction of elements occurs when we mix soda and acid. and the movement of effervescence is produced, but one cannot produce life by such interaction of chemicals. 84 like different species of life with different wishes and different actions. How the material force is working cannot be explained just on the basis of chemical reaction. A suitable example in this connection is that of the potter in the potter's wheel. The potter's wheel rotates and several varieties of earthen pots come out. There are many causes for the earthen pots, but the original cause is the potter who sets a force on the wheel. That force comes by his superintendence. Same idea is explained in Bhagavad Gita. Behind all material action and reaction, there is Krishna. Krishna says that everything depends on his energy and that he is not everywhere. The pot is produced under certain conditions of action and reaction of material energy, but the potter is not the pot, not in the pot. In a similar way, material creation is set up by the Lord, but he remains aloof. As stated in the Vedas, he simply glanced over it and the agitation of matter immediately began. In Bhagavad Gita, it is also said that the Lord impregnates the material energy with the part and parcels jivas, and thus the different forms and different activities immediately ensue. Because of the different desires and karmic activities of the jiva soul, different types of bodies in different species are produced. In Darwin's theory, there is no acceptance of the living entity as spirit soul, and therefore his explanation of evolution is incomplete. Varieties of phenomena occur within this universe on account of the actions and reactions of the three modes. But the original creator or the cause is the Supreme Lord, who is mentioned here as Nimitta Matram, remote cause. He simply pushes the wheel with his energy. According to the Mayavadi philosophers, the Supreme Brahman has transformed himself into many varieties of forms. But that is not the fact. He is always transcendental to the actions and reactions of the material gunas, although he is the cause of all causes. Mayavadi says Supreme Brahman has transformed. No, he is not transformed. Not Brahma, therefore says in Brahma Samhita, Ishvara Parama Krishna Sachidananda Vikirana Adiradir Govinda Sarva Karana Karanam. There are many causes and effects, but the original cause is Sri Krishna. स खल्विदं भगवान् कालशक्त्या गुणप्रवाहेण विभक्तवीर्यः करोत्यकर्तैव निहन्त्यहन्ता चेष्टा विभुम्नः खलु दुर्विभाव्य. Supreme Personality of Godhead, by his inconceivable supreme energy, time, causes the interaction of three modes of nature, and thus varieties of energy become manifest. It appears that he is acting, but he is not the actor. He is killing, but he is not the killer. Thus it is understood that only by his inconceivable power is everything happening. The word Durvibhavya means inconceivable by our tiny brain, and Vibhakta Viryaha means divided in varieties of potencies. This is the right explanation of the display of creative energies in the material world. We can better understand the mercy of God by an example. A government state is always supposed to be merciful. But sometimes, in order to keep law and order, the government employs its police force, and thus punishment is meted out to the rebellious citizens. Similarly, the Supreme Person of Godhead is always merciful and full of transcendental qualities. But certain individual souls, brackets us, have forgotten their relationship with Krishna and have endeavored to lord it over material nature and are still endeavoring. As a result of their endeavor, they are involved in varieties of material interaction. It is incorrect to argue, however, that because energy issues from the Supreme Lord, he is the actor. In the previous word, the word Nimitta Matram indicates the Supreme Lord is completely aloof from the action and reaction of this material world. How is everything being done? The word inconceivable has been used. It is not within the power of one small brain to comprehend. Unless one accepts the inconceivable power and energy of the Lord, one cannot make any progress. The forces which act are certainly set up by the Supreme Person of Godhead, but he is always aloof from their action and reaction. The varieties of energies produced by the interaction of material nature produce the varieties of species of life and their resultant happiness and unhappiness. All of this is the energy of the Lord, that's all. How the Lord acts is nicely explained in the Vishnu Purana. Fire is situated in one place, while the heat and light produced by the fire act in many different ways. Another example given is that the electric powerhouse is situated in one place, but by its energies, many different types of machinery move. The production is never identical with the original source of energy, but the original source of energy, being the prime factor, is simultaneously one with and different from the product. Meaning something is manufactured, like a mobile phone, That is never identical with the original source of energy from which it was formed, but still it is non-different because it is coming from that energy. Therefore, Lord Chaitanya's philosophy, Achintya Bhedha Bheda Tattva, is the perfect way of understanding. In this world, Lord incarnates in three forms, Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, by which he takes charge of the three modes of nature. By his incarnation of Brahma, he creates, Vishnu he maintains, Shiva he annihilates. But the original source of Brahma, Vishnu, Shiva, Garbhodaka, Shai, Vishnu, is always apart from these actions and reactions of material nature. Shonantontakar kalo nadir adi kridavyayah kridavyayah janam janena janayan marayan mrityunantakam. My dear Dhruva, the Supreme Lord is ever existing, but in the form of time. He is the killer of everything. He has no beginning, although he is the beginning of everything. Nor is he ever exhaustible, although everything is exhausted in due course of time. Living entities are created through the agency of the Father and killed through the agency of death, but he is perpetually free of birth and death. The supreme authority and inconceivable power of the Supreme Lord can be minutely studied from this verse. He is always unlimited. That means that he has no creation or end. He is, however, death in the form of time. Krishna says, I am death. I take away everything. Mrityu sarva harashaham. I take away everything at the end of life. Eternal time is also without beginning, but it is the creator of all creatures. The example is given of touchstone, which creates many valuable stones and jewels, but does not decrease in power. Similarly, creation occurs many times, everything is maintained, and after a time, everything is annihilated. But the original creator, the Supreme Lord, remains untouched and undiminished in power. Secondary creation is made by Brahma, but Brahma is created by the Supreme Godhead. Lord Shiva annihilates the whole creation, but at the end, he is also annihilated by Vishnu. Okay, we didn't know this. Lord Vishnu remains. In the Vedic hymns, it is stated that in the beginning there is only Vishnu, and that he alone remains at the end. An example can help us to understand the inconceivable potency of the Supreme Lord. In the recent history of warfare, the Supreme Personality of Godhead created a Hitler, and before that a Napoleon Bonaparte, and they each killed many living entities in war. But in the end, Bonaparte and Hitler were also killed. People are still very much interested in writing and reading books about Hitler and Bonaparte and how they killed so many people in war. Year after year, many books are published for public reading regarding Hitler's killing thousands of Jews in confinement. But no one is researching who killed Hitler, and who created such a gigantic killer of human beings. The devotees of the Lord are not much interested in studying the flickering history of the world. Yes, devotees of the Lord are not much or should not be much. For those who are interested, it should be changed to should not be much interested in the study of the flickering history of the world. They are interested only in Him, capital Krishna, who is the original creator, maintainer, and annihilator. That is the purpose of the Krishna consciousness movement. So we shouldn't waste our energy reading all this crap, useless material history. We should not be interested and waste our time. Nave स्वपक्षोऽस्य विपक्ष एव वा परस्य मृत्योर्विशतः समं प्रजाः तं धावमानम् अनुधावन्त्यनीशा यथा रजांसि anilam bhutasanghaः. Supreme Lord, in his feature of eternal time, is present in the material world and is neutral towards everyone. No one is his ally and no one is his enemy. Within the jurisdiction of the time element, everyone enjoys or suffers the result of his own karma and primitive activities. As when the wind blows, small particles of dust fly in the air. So according to one's particular karma, one suffers or enjoys material life. Although Supreme Lord is the original cause of all causes, he is not responsible for anyone's material sufferings or enjoyment. There is no such partiality on the part of the Supreme Lord. The less intelligent accuse the Supreme Lord of being partial and claim that this is why one enjoys in this material world and another suffers. But this verse specifically says that there is no such partiality on the part of the Supreme Lord. Living entities, however, are never independent. As soon as they declare their independence of the Supreme Controller, they are immediately put into this material world to try their luck, freely as far as possible. When the material world is created for such misguided living entities, if we thought we are qualified in any way Prabhupada clearly saying we are misguided living entities. They create their own karma and take advantage of the time element, and thereby they create their own fortune or misfortune. Everyone is created, everyone is maintained, and everyone is ultimately killed. As far as these three things are concerned, the Lord is equal to everyone. It is according to one's karma that one suffers and enjoys. The living entity's higher or lower position, his suffering or enjoying are due to his own karma. The exact word used in this connection is anishaha. It means dependent on their own karma. The example is given that the government gives everyone the facilities for governmental action and management. But by one's own choice, one creates a situation which obliges him to exist under different types of consciousness. The example given in this verse is that when the wind blows, particles of dust float in the air. Gradually, lightning occurs, and then torrents of rain follow. And thus, the rainy season creates a situation of varieties in the forest. God is very kind. He gives everyone an equal chance. But by the resultant actions of one's own karma, one suffers or enjoys this material world. Mm. So yeah, just so that we are not in any illusion that we have been put into this situation. Now we have created our own situations by our foolishness, by misusing our free will. And even after knowing it, previously we didn't know it and we were misusing free will. Now, even after knowing it, we are misusing free will. That is bigger foolishness. So we have to just give up this nonsense free will, and we should not remain a separatist, meaning our interest should not be separate from the Lord's interest. So just as soon as we become cooperator, Prabhupada says we should become a cooperator. Krishna's happiness is important, and we should just cooperate to give him happiness, and then yeah, our life will become perfect. Ayushopachayam jantos tathaivopachayam vibuhu ubabhyam rahitasvasto dustasya vidadhatyasau. Supreme Personality of Godhead Vishnu is all powerful and he awards the results of one's fruitive activities. Thus, although one living entity's duration of life is very small, whereas that of another is very great, he is always in his transcendental portion, and there is no question of lessening or increasing his duration of life. Both the mosquito and Lord Brahma are living entities in the material world. Both are minute sparks and are part of the Supreme Lord. The very short duration of life of the mosquito and the very long lifetime of Lord Brahma are both awarded by the Supreme Lord according to the results of their karma. But in the Brahma Samhita we find it said karmani nirdahati. The Lord diminishes or vanquishes the reactions of devotees. In fact, explained in Bhagavad Gita, Yagnarthat karmanonyatra, one should perform karma only for the purpose of satisfying the Supreme Lord. Otherwise, one is bound by the action and reaction. So this is one thing. What kind of karma should be done? Even if there is karma, who is the one who diminishes? Lord diminishes. Under the laws of karma, a living entity wanders within the universe under the rule of eternal time. And sometimes he becomes the mosquito and sometimes Lord Brahma. To a sane man, this business is not very fruitful. Bhagavad Gita gives a warning to the living entities. Yanti Devad Pratap Devan. Those who are addicted to the worship of the demigods go to the planets of the demigods. And those who are addicted to the worship of Pitas go to the Pitas. Those who are inclined to material activities remain in the material sphere. But persons who engage in devotional service reach the abode of the Supreme Lord, where there is neither birth nor death nor different varieties of life. Under the influence of the law of karma, the best interest of the living entity is to engage himself in devotional service and go back home, back to God. Srila Bhakti Vinod Thakur advised, my friend, you are being washed away in material nature's waves of time. Please try to understand that you are the eternal servant of the Lord. Then everything will stop and you will be eternally happy. Mm. Yeah, so Lord destroys. Lord diminishes or vanquishes the due reactions. When does he do it? Sarvadharman Parityaja. When we have given up all dharma and surrendered to Krishna. Even if in the name of some dharma we are not fully surrendered, then it doesn't help. Yeah, Raju Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Prabhu,
Hare Krishna.
we don't know where our forefathers are there right now, in
Hmm.
which body. So, I mean, I read couple of times that if we worship Pitru, we will go to the Pitru. Means I didn't get. There is
Yeah,
a
who
separate
goes to
loka
Pitraloka?
for.
Yeah,
I mean, there is a separate loka for Pitrus, but
yeah,
we don't know that in which body they are there now. So how we can understand that in Pitruloka means who are there?
yeah. Pitraloka
Yeah.
is a heavenly planet.
Okay.
So just like there are qualifications for everybody to go to different planetary systems. There are qualifications for going to Pitraloka, and there are certain again like karma kanda stuff that one can do to please the Pitrus. And by pleasing them, they can go to Pitraloka. Now, who's there in Pitraloka? Everybody who's worshipped their ancestors in some form, accumulated karma, punya, go to Pitraloka. Not that all of our ancestors are in Pitraloka, because all our ancestors have not done punya, right? Or have not done punya with the intention of going to Pitraloka. And others are just like all other living entities. They have karma and their punya, papa. According to their punya, papa, wherever they are there. And those who did specific karma for achieving punya to enter heavenly planet called Pitraloka, they went there. That's all.
Okay. And also, I heard one in one lecture, Prabhu. So those who are doing this uh, during Pitru Paksha, they are doing puja,
Shraddha.
right?
Hmm.
So I heard that actually the Pitru Devatas will take the offerings, right? So I heard like first Vishnu will take the offering, then he will give it to the Pitrus, and then once they had taken, they will provide food to our forefathers who are in different
Yeah.
bodies. Suppose
Probably.
if they are in animal body, they will provide the food to those animals, like that. They are saying, Prabhu. Is
Yeah.
that
So
correct, Prabhu?
Shraddha, yeah. So Shraddha, the whole process of Shraddha is Vishnu Prasada. So Pinda and Udaka are Vishnu Prasada. So it's offered to Vishnu. And once it is offered to Vishnu, yeah, Pitru Devatas, yeah, there they can take. And then they will give the benefit. It's not like they will give food. They will give that the benefit of that of having accepted some some ancestors, some for somebody in that lineage has offered this. So okay, so we will give the benefit of that to that jiva. Mm, and that the benefit is given to that jiva. Yeah, that's how it works.
Benefit means, Prabhu.
Benefit, you mean it's offering? What is the benefit of offering of giving prasadam to somebody? So two things are said. One is karmani nirdahati. So if there is some sin that the person is suffering, and because of which maybe that jiva is in hell or some really bad condition, the benefit of that shraddha goes as reduction of material miseries, and also because it is actually prasada, so there will also be some spiritual benefit.
Okay, Prabhu. Thanks for clarification. Hare Krishna.
Yeah, somebody else lifted their
Yeah,
hands.
Hari Krishna Prabhuji,
Yeah, yeah, Mataji.
Dandaswan.
Pranam.
Prabhuji, like in many families, like I've also had an experience of this. Like they say, like the pitras come into it, and the voice is very same. They recognize, and I know of a certain family, like everything they do, well, pitra ne aise bola, they come in, they guide also. So is it they come from the pitra loka, or is it a
Yeah.
subtle body effect, or what is it actually,
No, no.
Prabhu? Like,
See, these are all, there are unlimited kinds of, stuff, things that are happening. It's like, for example, I mean, if you say, now demigods are helping, somebody does some puja to demigods and demigods help. Now, do demigods have to come personally here to help? They want, they can come. That is up to them, right? But they will help because they have superior power. They can decide in what form or in what experience they should give to the jiva who is dependent on them. They can decide. Similarly, Pitrus are also, they are demigods. Demigods as in they are because they are in heavenly planets, they also have some power. And that power can be utilized for somebody who's dependent on them. Yeah, but everything will have restrictions, will have, do's, whatever, right? They're all working within certain framework, and within that framework, I'm sure they'll be able to give some benefits. Yeah. Oh, yeah, anybody actually, I mean, all of these so-called higher human beings, right? Like anybody who's above Bhuloka, they have powers more than jivas in Bhuloka, so they can bestow some gifts. Yeah, possible.
Prabhuji, like once, I mean, before coming to ISKCON, I mean, I had done this Bhagavatam for 7 days. My cousin had done it, and they had roped in a pole with 7 knots, like, and the Bhagavatam, सारे विधि विधान से Bhagavatam हुआ था. And during those days, like, I was in a really material this thing when I didn't even know that the next meal I'll get. So probably like after the Bhagavatam, I know one day the pole, like every day, like, like then they went and put it in the gang. 1 second, I think I'll probably.
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Prabhu, Hare Krishna, Pranam Prabhu.
What happened after Bhagavatam was completed, they had this Prabha in Kaveri.
Okay.
After 1 or 2 days, my cousins, I was not there, my cousins are sitting in my other cousin's house, who got an Bhagavatam in his house. And they were sitting talking. Suddenly my grandmother, she came as a pitra. And through my other cousin, not whom he performed Bhagavatam in his house. Then she asked everybody, we were not able to read. They said that voice was clearly that can recognize from it was my grandmother only.
They heard some voice.
Yeah, 100% voice. Man.
Okay.
Yeah. And she was calling by name my father, my uncle by name, their name, like my father name is Ramnivas Gupta. She used to call Ramu. So Ramu se bhi milna tha. Like that way she was talking. Then she asked, why you as this Prabhat, that this bamboo stick in Kaveri. This should, after Bhagavatam, they should go to the Ganges. He said then my uncle was staying nearby. Then they called my uncle. He went there. And he came and sat on a sofa. Then she suddenly said, Murari, his name.
We were not able to hear you. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
I'm also not able to hear.
Okay, you'll get.
Anukul Prabhu, not able to hear you.
My other.
Prabhuji, your voice is breaking. We could hear till somebody went and sat on the sofa. After that, I couldn't hear.
Sat on sofa. Then my uncle's name is Murari Lal. He said, Murari, you are sitting on my hand. Just go a little bit apart. Okay. Yeah, he said, my family, I'm telling you. And then my auntie came, through she was talking. She said, okay, I don't have a grandson. She said, hey, I can't give you, but can you, now I have to, you asking me, I'll give you, no problem. Not here. Then she said about my father. Okay, I want to see Ramu also. I want to meet Ramu. They didn't call us actually.
Okay.
So we were in a very lower middle. Our business was not starting. We put a factory, a lot of money like that was there.
Okay.
Then she said, okay, Ramu nahi aaya. Till last when she left, she said, Ramu nahi aaya. Okay, you tell him, okay, don't worry, everything will be okay.
Okay. Jai.
So you believe after a few months, I think actually, we got a license and like that way, and everything started a factory like that way. This so this is an incident in our family.
Yeah. So Which is what I mean. Only thing I can't relate here is saying that why did she or why did she manifest her presence after Bhagavatam, right? That is the only connection I can't understand. But
Yeah,
yeah, rest of the things are.
I'm also connecting only with Bhagavatam only ke way, because of Bhagavatam she came actually like that way. Or maybe she was
Yeah, no, we can't connect it because Bhagavatam, of course, I mean, see, somebody called me and saying that ये भागवतम 7 दिन का कर सकते हैं क्या, इससे ये कर्मफल नाश होता है ये वो. So maybe there's some karma kanda process which we are not aware.
No, but Prabhu, one thing is there. It means she was listening Bhagavatam. Otherwise, how she can say why you can put this one in
नहीं वो नहीं Prabhu, वो we can't say guarantee definitely ना. See, it's like after an event has happened, then as a result of the fruit of some event, some other event is happening. Now this doesn't
But
mean.
after that we are she never came actually. In
Yeah.
some like other she was telling you, in other families they come like frequently actually.
Frequently, okay. Okay, so yeah, I mean, yeah. One thing I've realized after coming to Krishna consciousness is the possibilities are innumerable. Anything and everything can happen. I've interacted with devotees who can literally see things which I cannot even understand or appreciate, right? And somebody told me saying that there's a Sudarshan Chakra on your house, circling around your house. So I said like, okay, fine. I mean, I trust that because Krishna is protecting our house.
Yeah.
That's all, right? Now, but that devotee said, no, there's a Sudarshan Chakra. I said, okay, fine. Like this. So many inconceivable that not everybody
Actually,
can understand, appreciate.
Exactly, I don't know that Pandit also. But it was not like a 2 days nowadays Bhagavatam, like so many music. He was very simple person actually.
Okay.
Very sattvic person. He was doing actually. I just remember that no music, nothing. Just after with the clap, he used to do kirtan like that way.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Maybe we.
Yeah. Sorry, it was off track actually, but I said let me mention this incident actually.
No problem, bro. I mean, anyway, so the point was about these pitrus and those energies, those shaktis are there. They can manifest their superior to us. So many things can happen. Yeah. Okay. I mean, the only thing that comes to my mind is when we hear all these things, we can understand how powerful Krishna is. But we still don't have faith in Krishna. That is our fallen state. When we hear these things, we can understand saying that, even ordinary living entities, some living entities have been bestowed powers and they can do things like this, etc. But
I can say that Bhagavatam powerful. She about it was after she passed away, almost I can say about 17, 15, about 20 years back after she actually came because of powerful of Bhagavatam only Krishna's power she came actually. Otherwise, there was no question of that.
Yeah. So we have to just ultimately have faith in Krishna. That Krishna is there. If you are sincerely trying to serve him, he will take care of things for us. Whatever is required, he'll do. Yeah. Prabhu.
Prabhu, just wanted to know that in Hulimavu we are celebrating Govardhan Puja or in the
No. We are in the Sheshadripuram temple.
Okay. So we are celebrating on 2nd, Prabhu, right?
Yeah.
Just wanted to
I'll share the schedule once.
Come and meet devotees for the long time after a long time.
Yeah, sure. I'll share the program schedule once it comes. Yeah. Okay. Anything else? Anybody?
Prabhu, is it necessary for devotees to do Shraddha every year? Because I heard some
Sarva dharman
devotees...
parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja. It depends on your level of surrender.
Okay, some devotees told not necessary. Some devotees said
It
Chaitanya
depends on.
Mahaprabhu.
No. It depends on level of your surrender. See, nothing. There are no. See, Krishna consciousness is a very simple thing, Prabhu. There is only sadhana bhakti. That there are certain rules and regulations to follow for doing bhakti. The Vedic, we are not even if you do Shraddha, we can't do the what is that Smarta Vidhi, right? We have to do Vaishnava Vidhi, and Vaishnava Vidhi is very simple, is offering bhoga to Lord, That's all, right? And
that's every day
which
we
is
are
what
doing.
Vishnu Prasad. That we are doing every day. But that day we will specifically pray for that soul benefit, saying that let that soul make spiritual progress, right? And
Okay.
then with that prayer we will offer prayers and offer bhoga to the Lord. So yeah, so since we've been doing it, we know the power of prasadam, right? So yeah, whether we have to go through a very see, there are two things actually. It's a very deep question actually. See, one is there is a need to introduce Vedic practices in society. Okay, because today's society is going to dogs, giving up everything, right? All culture, Samskriti is going to dogs, right? So in one way, devotees can become role models. Okay, but in the name of being role models, we should not mix up with the the core of Krishna consciousness, which is faith in Krishna, right? So we as devotees should never do anything like smartha or any kind of shraddha, thinking that the shraddha process is more powerful than prasadam, right? As in our faith, irrespective whether we do that process or we don't do the process, should be in ultimately it is the bhoga, it is the naivedya, that offering, that is what is carrying the whole power in this process. That is pinda and udaka. That is the central theme, right? Actually, His Holiness Shivram Maharaj in his book Shuddha Bhakti Chintamani, he says that if we engage in these kind of yagnas or pujas, etc., thinking those pujas are themselves powerful, over and above Krishna consciousness, or then it will become an obstacle to pure devotional service. So he says, otherwise you can do whatever you want. I mean, we are encouraged to do all the samskaras also, right? But that is not with the idea of thinking that those samskaras themselves are supreme. No, right? This is just to maintain culture and the samskaras, and we can do it. And if we don't do it, there is, at least my own life, I'm like I said, it's our own faith in Krishna, right? So there is no loss if we don't do. We can just do offering to Jagannath. I do that every year for my father. I request temple, devotees, they'll offer it to Jagannath, and inevitably I will that coming week or something, I will try to offer prasadam seva for all Vaishnavas. That's to whatever strength Krishna has given me. That much I've been doing now for 6 years. I have not done any other shraddha. I mean, while when my father left his body, yeah, my mother was not in a state of mind, so she said, no, we have to do. I said, okay, we will do in Smartha Vidhi. She was not ready for Vaishnava Vidhi. We did Smartha Vidhi, but after that, from next year, I just put down my foot and said, nothing doing. We're going to just offer it to Jagannath. Is there, he will take care. That's all. End of story. But yeah, it's absolutely not wrong to do, provided we are in the right consciousness. And even if we don't do, if you have faith in Krishna, there's no loss.
Okay,
but we can anyway offer bhoga to the Lord and offer the benefit to the jiva for his spiritual progress, which is anyway, which we should do anyway, right? Which is okay.
Okay.
Okay, anything else? Anybody? Okay, we'll close here. Bhagavatam ki jai, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhyascha Ananta Koti Vaishnava. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you, Prabhu, for giving a new angle and connecting it to the Bhagavatam. I mean, like only you could have connected it, and it makes me look into things in a very different way now. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you.
Okay,
Thank you, everybody. Hare Krishna and Dandavat Pranam.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Dandavat Pranam to everyone.